Alright, hi everyone, and welcome to the 11.11 patch notes video. They released yesterday, so I'm a little behind, but here we are. As always, if you like this, please subscribe to make sure that you get the notifications when the patch notes video goes up, and let's get going. As always, the authors are Shio Shoujo and Momcat. Starting off with the champions, we have Azir, Q cost decreased. Q Conquering Sands, cost went from 70 mana to 55 mana. Elise, Spider Form, on hit damage ratio decreased. Q passive Spider Queen, Spider Form on hit damage ratio went from 30% AP to 20% AP. Ezreal, base health regen growth and armor increased. Base stats, health regen growth went from 0.55 to 0.65. Armor went from 22 to 24. Graves, base AD growth increased. Base stats, AD growth went from 3 to 4. Hecarim, Q bonus AD damage ratio increased. E damage ratio increased. Q Rampage, damage ratio went from 70 bonus AD to 75 bonus AD. E Devastating Charge, minimum damage ratio went from 50% bonus AD to 55% bonus AD, and maximum damage ratio went from 100% to 110% bonus AD. Lee Sin, E cooldown increased. E Tempest, cooldown went from 8 to 9 seconds. Leona, W base damage decreased. W Eclipse, base damage went from a base of 60 to 45, increasing by 35 with each rank. Master Yi, Q damage ratio decreased. Q Alpha Strike, damage ratio went from 100% AD to 90%. E Wuju Style, base damage went from a base of 20 to 30, increasing by 10 with each rank. Morgana, W damage against non-epic monsters decreased. W Tormented Shadow, damage against non-epic monsters went from 185% to 155%. Nautilus, E now deals increased damage against monsters. E Riptide, this is new. Titan of the Camps, Riptide now deals 150% increased damage against monsters. So I look forward to seeing Nautilus in the jungle again. Kiana, W bonus movement speed decreased. W Terror Shape, bonus movement speed went from a base of 5 to 3, increasing by 2 with each rank. Rumble, passive on hit damage cap against monsters decreased. Passive Junkyard Titan, on hit damage cap against monsters went from 120 to 80. Rise, base health growth increased. Base stats, health growth went from 98 to 110. Senna, passive bonus attack range decreased. Q now scales with lethality. E now scales with AP when camouflaged. R damage ratio increased. Passive, Absolution, bonus attack range per 20 miss stacks went from 25 to 20. New Lethal Healing, Piercing Darkness Healing now also scales with 160% lethality. E Curse of the Black Mist, bonus movement speed went from 20% to 20%, but plus 1% per 20 AP. R Dawning Shadow, damage ratio went from 50% to 70% AP. Seraphine, W base self and ally shields increased. W surround sound, base self shield went from 75 through 150 to 75 through 225 levels 1 through 18, and base ally shield went from 50 through 100 to 50 through 150. Shaco, either or, W damage ratio decreased, E AP damage ratio decreased. W Jack in the Box, damage ratio went from 10% AP with 20% AP against single targets to 9% AP with 18% AP against single targets. E 2 Shiv Poison, AP damage ratio went from 55% to 50%. Singed, E cooldown now scales. E Fling, cooldown went from 10 seconds to a base of 10 seconds decreasing by 0.5 with each rank. Teemo, W cooldown decreased. W, move quick, cooldown went from 17 seconds to 14 seconds. Urgot, W modified damage ratio decreased later. W, purge, modified damage ratio went from a base of 20 to a remaining base of 20, but now increasing by 3.5 with each rank. Items. Top lane tank items. Bramble Vest, armor went from 35 to 30, removed Thorns of Reflected Damage. Bramble Vest reflected damage no longer scales with bonus armor. Warmog's armor, minimum health requirement, went from 3,000 maximum health to 1,100 bonus health. Warden's Mail, rock solid damage reduction. It went from 0.5% of maximum health to 5 plus 0.35% of maximum health. New, a solid tooltip. Tooltip now shows how much rock solid damage has been blocked. Randuin's Omen, rock solid damage reduction went from 0.5% of maximum health to 5 plus 0.35% of maximum health. Frozen Heart, once again, rock solid damage reduction, 0.5% of maximum health went to 7 plus 0.35% of maximum health. Winter's Caress enemy attack speed slow went from 15% to 20%. Moonstone Renewer, Starlight Grace heal and shield power per second went from 4% up to 20% to 6% up to 30%. Black Cleaver, Carve armor reduction per stack, 4% up to 24% at 6 stacks went to 5% up to 30% at 6 stacks. Divine Sunderer, Spellblade empowered on hit damage, 10% of target's maximum health went to 12% of target's maximum health, and Spellblade healing went from 50% for melee and 30% for ranged to 65% for melee and 40% for ranged. Frostfire Gauntlet, Snowbind slow for ranged users went from 25% with plus 4% per 1000 maximum health to 12.5% with plus 2% per 1000 maximum health. Snowbind cooldown for ranged users went from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Rime-Forged Grasp with the Ornn upgrade. Snowbind slow for ranged users went from the 25% plus 4% per 1000 maximum health to 12.5% plus 2% per 1000 maximum health. Snowbind cooldown for ranged users went from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. So the same as the item without the upgrade. Staff of Flowing Water, rapid self and ally empowerment went from 20 to 40 AP based on target's level for 4 seconds to 25 to 45 AP based on target's level for 4 seconds. Serpent's Fang, Shield Reaver, shield reduction for ranged users went from 25% to 35%. Wardstone Line, removed Stirring Wardstone but updated Watchful Wardstone. Total cost is 1,100 gold, health is 150, ability haste 10. Arcane Cache, this item can serve to 3 purchased control wards. Removed Visions of Ixtal. Increase your stealth ward, totem ward, and control ward caps by 1 with the new upgrade of upon reaching level 13 and completing the support quest, automatically upgrades into Vigilant Wardstone. Updated Vigilant Wardstone. Build path automatically upgrades from Watchful Wardstone. Health 150, ability haste 15. Arcane Cache, this item can serve to 3 purchase control wards. Visions of Ixtal, increase your stealth ward. Visions of Ixtal, increase your stealth ward, totem ward, and control ward caps by 1. New Blessing of Ixtal, Vigilant Wardstone now increases ability power, ability haste, bonus attack damage, and bonus health by 12%. Runes, Hail of Blades, cooldown went from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. Biscuit Delivery, sellback cost went from 30 gold to 5 gold. That's an ouch. In-game shop updates. The build tree has been upgraded to put some respect on the final item. It's larger as well as accommodate taller trees. Looking at you, Ornn. Chad mythic items with an active now have their own special mythic active border to differentiate them from the plebeian normal active items. Mythic item borders now show up in the scoreboard so you can easily identify why Jin has a dash. The builds into dropdown gained some smarts and can resize based on its content. Ember Knife and Hailblade now appear in the starting items section of the support tab if you load in with Smite. Sorry about that, Ivern. Nexus Blitz balance changes. Nexus Blitz returns for the project event and will be available from May 27th to June 28th. Loot Teemo Vigor first event chance went from 13% to 9%. Elder Dragon can no longer appear as a first reward. Rift Scuttler now uses the same shield mechanic as in Summoner's Rift. Rift Scuttler base health went from 3,000 to 2,800. Rift Scuttler base armor and MR went from 60 to 20. Smite now matches Summoner's Rift's value starting at 450 damage, upgrades to 900. Adjusted the factors that weighed into advantages to the losing team. Not only will it take into consideration the gold discrepancy, but the formula will also consider level differences between the two teams. DPS check dummy health went from 5,000 plus 90 health per level plus 15 health per second until 6 minutes, then plus 30 health per second after, to 1,000 plus 90 health per level plus 2 health per second until 6 minutes, then plus 2 health per second after. Damage that would kill the DPS check dummy now puts it at 1 health. On fire movement speed towards enemy facing angle went from 180 degrees to 130 degrees. Bug fixes and QOL changes. Ari's E charm no longer causes jungle monsters' health to regenerate if used out of combat. Updated base Karma's Q and E VFX to improve color range and reduce noise. Hitting Hextech Malzahar or Tyrant Swain will trigger more metallic sounds. Fixed an SFX bug where the initial portion of Worldbreaker Malzahar's Q, Call of the Void, couldn't be heard if he cast the ability from Fog of War. Fixed an SFX bug for Crystal Rose Swain where if Swain used R Demon Flare and started draining a target's soul, the target would not hear the Stereo Whisper SFX or the Soul Drain Start SFX. Open Shop voice lines are once again available for champions and skins that have them. Updated Talia's Closed Shop VO to her Open Shop VO. Lux's R Final Spark VO will once again play. Fixed a bug where Xin Zhao's E Audacious Charge would go on cooldown and use mana despite it not being actually activated when trying to cast it on the enemy outside of its range and recasting it afterwards without a target. Rammus's R Soaring Slam no longer deals its damage instantly when cast at point 0. Alistair's Q Pulverize no longer grants a stack of passive Triumphant Roar when used on a spell-shielded target. And lastly, Kassadin can no longer trigger Electrocute by only hitting a champion with 2 separate attacks. Upcoming skins and chromas. The upcoming skin line is coming out Project, which includes Sejuani, Mordekaiser, Renekton, Senna, Silas, and Silas Prestige Edition along with Varus. There will be chromas for all of them. I hope that this was a helpful patch notes reading. If you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you at the next one.